This show has headed straight down the porcelain throne ever since Brandy channeled her inner promo of a lifetime. The main event of this journey into hysteria. Didn't we just see this? Was this not a rematch of something that we actively tried not to watch before?
This was a rematch of the first round match from the #1 contenders tournament, but then Rey Fenix got hurt even though he won. So his brother Penta, even though he lost in the first round, went on to the second round against Kenny Omega.
Okay, now we got to watch it again. The point is Felix against Pentagonal, Octagonal, El Hexagonal. They're a tag team. They're brothers. They're in the same heel group. It's not a tournament anymore. Now they're just fighting again, and they have to ask Kingston, well, why are your guys fighting? Well, we just like to fight, because he had no good fucking answer for it, because it didn't make any sense. This is not a tournament where they're going to get somewhere. They're just brothers, partners, and heel stablemates wrestling each other, because the booker is a video game wrestling mark who wants to see two guys in masks doing video game moves. So this is why we have to look at this. I cannot watch. I've tried to watch a little bit of it, and I just say, you know what the fuck? I'm sorry. I know lucha is an art form in their country, and they've been brought up on it, and they respect it. But today's modern lucha looks even phonier than fucking lucha of the 70s and 80s looked, and that was the reason why that most American fans and or American wrestlers scoffed at lucha, because it looked phony. And we've gone over the reasons for a lot of that, from the hard rings to the style that was developed in the whole 9 yards. But the people in Mexico believe in it because it's their culture. They can't see it. It's like Steve Austin stomping a mud hole in people when the stomps looked like shit. It was Austin doing it. You couldn't see through it because he was part of the culture. That shit don't fly with American eyes. And I cannot watch this phony-looking shit. It's like watching ugly Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders practice their routines. There's no effort at a contest. It's flips, moves, and bumps. It doesn't make any sense because it's brothers doing this to each other and tag team partners and heel stablemates, so there's nobody to even cheer for. They just do their shit to each other over and over again. And I can't fucking do it. Especially when everybody else now is doing the same thing that the lucha guys do, even when they're Americans. Flips, cartwheels, and fucking nip-ups and monkey flips. Finally, Pentagon won. Kingston congratulated him. Kingston kicked Felix out of the ring, literally kicked him out of the ring, and starts to heel on Pentagon's brother, wherever that's going. And then suddenly, here comes Pac back. The Pac is back. And we've love Pac. He looks in great physical shape. His work is tremendous. He's got a nice, great face, right? He looks like something. I'm not knocking Pac, but he runs toward the ring. And not only every referee on the roster, but 5 guys wearing referee shirts we've never seen before, suddenly are there to separate them. They do angles weekly where people are fucking castrated with fishing knives live on television, and nobody comes out. Nobody even rings a bell, much less steps in the ring to help. And this one guy comes running to the ring, and there's 20 people to stop it before he gets there. And then they have to tease the pull apart way too long. They booked Pac versus the Butcher for next week. Now we come to find out this is what Tony Khan was talking about the balance of power shifting and everything changing. Because apparently he's as big of a Pac mark as he is for pockets. And so he pushes his favorites. I'm not saying Pac is not deserving. I'm not saying Pac shouldn't be one of the top guys here in his company as it stands. But who truly gives 2 shits about Pac versus the fucking Butcher? Because here's another, the heels fighting amongst themselves. The former heel group of Pac and the Lucha Brothers. The English guy that decided to hang out with 2 Mexicans. That happens in real life all the time. Suddenly now, Pac's on the outside of this group. The 2 Mexicans are fighting with each other. Kingston's running the show, but he wants to get rid of Felix and suck up to Penta. Can we just stick a baby face in here somewhere just as a placeholder? I don't get this whole fucking thing. What'd you think? That was the main event, by the way, on this show.
I didn't really like it. Now, I know I'm in the minority when it comes to AEW fans because they all love Penta and Rey Fenix. I'll admit, Rey Fenix does some spectacular stuff. And I can understand if you're someone really into spots and tricks, you'd really like Rey Fenix. I don't get why anyone likes Penta at all. I don't know what I'm missing. I'm missing something. Because usually even with the ones I don't like, I can understand why people are into them. Penta just bores the shit out of me. I've never seen anything with him that I was like, wow, this guy's great. So I don't know what I'm missing. These two guys are brothers. They've been tag teams. They had that one match in the tournament. Now all of a sudden they're ripping each other's masks off.
Yeah, it wasn't even like a brotherly match. It was like, I'm going to rip your mask and you're going to kick me in the balls.
And why not save that? Well, you could say this about the bunkhouse. You could say this about so many different things. Why not save that until it actually means something? Why throw it away?
They're never going to get there. We keep saying that, but I've come to the realization none of this is ever going to mean anything because he doesn't know how to make it mean anything, and they're never going to have the patience to get that far.
And then in terms of Pac coming out after Eddie Kingston kicks Rey Fenix out of the ring and says, you don't need your brother to Penta. Penta really doesn't react at all. I don't know if he's supposed to be slow or what his deal is. And then Pac comes out, and man, he comes out and he looks like a star. He handles himself. He has intensity. It would probably be a bigger surprise if we didn't see that promo from him last week on the show. But this does nothing to change the balance of power anywhere. Nothing. So, I think Tony Khan's stupid for overhyping this. And it was all downhill after Brandy. And there was nothing else on the rest of the show that made me want to see more next week. The Brandy segment, the Cody segment, even the Brian Cage match side down. I'm going to include the Brian Cage match and the Cody segment as like one portion of the show.
Yeah.
Everything else after that, I really didn't like. But that one portion was good.
Maybe all this time that we've been knocking Brandy for trying to figure out a way to shoehorn herself into the show, we should have realized she was just trying to save this fiasco all along. We didn't give her enough chance.
Well, the problem was Brandy never figured out what she was. She was Cody's valet and a babyface in that role because Cody was. And then she decided she was a heel, and she had her faction where she was cutting people's hair with the Awesome Kong. And then she went right back to babyface. And then she was heel. They've never figured out how to use her.
And then sometimes she was an executive in one segment and then a heel talent on the other segment.
Yeah. But she was, there's nothing.
Just let her come out and tell a bitch off.
This was great. This was so great. But the rest of the show sucked.
I'll tell you what, if they want to draw some money, they need to get Brandy versus Rebby. I'll buy 2 tickets to see that one.
Can Rebby cut a promo? I've never seen her.
I don't know, but it sounds like that it'd be stiff if she could.
Well, Twitter promos are different than real promos.
Well, I just want to see the cat fight then. I have a feeling they could make us believe it. Closing thoughts on do we have the ratings on these two fiascos?
Yeah, actually they just came in a little while ago.
What did Jane Cargill get the rating of the night?
Well, let me start by saying AEW, obviously this is the first television show off of a pay-per-view that their fans loved. It was a really hot pay-per-view to the AEW core audience.
Wow. But Trump got those 70 million votes too, so there's no accounting for some people's taste.
So you would think that audience would say, oh my God, I want to see what's next. Like the Raw after WrestleMania, that's a big deal.
Yeah. So you're said it's going to be a good number here.
NXT, 632.
Yeah.
AEW, 764.
130,000.
And not much of a bump. Is this, I don't even know. Is this up or down from last week?
It's the same numbers every week. 600 and something and 700 and something. Because it's the same people every week. Because they're the only ones who can put up with this shit.
But the other thing is,
you have to grudge watch these programs. They're not good on their own.
Mid-South Wrestling, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, not to put you over, WCW TV when it was really good, Raw when it was good, every wrestling show when it was good,
Continental
would leave you.
Crockett's syndicated show back in the early 80s.
You couldn't wait until the next week. You couldn't wait
Memphis
to see
TV forever.
Boy, AEW, it's just a collection of shit, and they try to hype you for what's coming next week, but they do such a bad job of setting things up and leaving you with anticipation. Just not good. Not good. Tony Khan is an awful booker. He writes bad TV.
Not good. Very, very bad.
Not good.